Hi friends, and welcome back to MV Stories. Today we'll look at a Reddit story. Today's story comes from the Relationships subreddit. It was posted by Eatingo Thurskups and was titled, "Me with my husband 12 years has a coworker being inappropriate, using a throwaway." About a year ago, my husband hired a mid-20-year-old girl to work in his department. He is her supervisor, and from the day she started, I could tell by the way that my husband talked about her that he maybe had a little crush on her. I didn't feel threatened by this, because I thought it was only natural because there are very few women that work in his company, and the ones that do are older, so it seemed pretty natural to develop an innocent crush on the new young 20-something cute girl. About a month after she started, things are starting to get a little weird, like he would constantly come home with homemade baked goods like cupcakes, cakes, breads, etc. that she had made for him, not the office, but for him. I got a little alarmed, but I'm not naturally a jealous person, so I just assumed this girl was trying to be nice, and it helps to have the boss be your friend. Then a couple of months ago, things have started to get really weird. He bought her a birthday present and took her out to lunch, and then about 2 weeks later, he comes home with clothing that she bought for him for a present. It wasn't a holiday or his birthday, it was just something that she bought for him. My first reaction was, what the fuck? But I didn't say anything because I didn't want to make any accusations without proof, I guess. About a week later, my husband was brought into his boss's office, was told that there are rumors that both him and this girl are having an affair, and that wasn't appropriate. When he was telling me this story, it was like he seriously didn't see anything weird about them buying presents for each other, her making him baked goods, or them going out to lunch together alone. I immediately told him to stop accepting presents from her, and he agreed, but just a few days later, he comes home with a variety of homemade bread. She's now buying presents for our 2 kids, and I'm just finding this whole thing strange and really inappropriate. I guess maybe I'm finding it difficult to see if this is really inappropriate or if I'm just overreacting. Update 1. I forgot the password to the throwaway that I used for that account, so I made a new account since I know how much updates are liked. I left out one detail in my original post. At the time, I was pregnant, like due any day pregnant. I have since given birth to a healthy little boy, but this little tidbit of info makes my OP and my update a little more messed up. On to the update. A few days after my OP, I snooped in his laptop bag and did not like what I had found. Let's just say there was obvious items that would be used for sex, so all my suspicions were confirmed. He was having an affair with this girl. I confronted him immediately when he got home and found out that they were having an affair for about 2 months, so I kicked him out. A couple of days went by, and he wanted to talk, so we did. We talked for a half day, and it was brutal to say the least. We talked about the affair, what drove him to an affair, and how neither of us was really happy, just comfortable with our relationship. We both admitted that there was a lot of things that we both did and didn't do in our relationship, and that having an affair was not a cause, but a symptom of a stale relationship. We had grown apart, become comfortable, we had made each other our last priority in life, and basically we had functioned as roommates other than partners. We hadn't had sex since our baby was conceived and had limited sexual or intimate contact prior to that. We both basically ignored each other. He played video games and ignored his family while I took over and became a super parent. Neither of us felt appreciated, wanted, or needed from the other person. Honestly, I was planning on filing for divorce soon after the birth of our baby, and he the same. But shit got real when I kicked him out. We both got a glance into the life that was in store for us, and it kind of sucked. He moved back home, we had the baby, and now we are rebuilding our commitment, which is really fucking hard. We are in marriage counseling and are really trying to move past this and rediscover the person that we had fallen in love with. None of this is easy, and some days I question why I didn't kick him for good, but at the end of the day, we have kids, and we owe it to our kids to see if there are any possibilities for happiness as a couple and partners before breaking it off, lawyering up, and hitting the gym. We are in a very delicate position right now, but lots of stuff has improved. I have relinquished control and let him help out and do things and let him do them his way. He has stepped up and started helping out with the kids, making dinner, doing chores, and spending time with his family. We are making each other our top priority instead of the kids, work, or our hobbies. We talk about everything and we don't let things bottle up or ignore things. We have good days and bad days, and we talk on both types of days, whether it's the affair or it was something that the other person did that we didn't like. Anything. We are open and honest and try to be as transparent as possible on everything, especially him. I do not trust him, and he is really trying to rebuild that trust. Like I said, things are delicate, but are improving, and we are both hopeful that one day we can move past this. We're trying to look at the affair as something that kicked up both in the ass to make us realize that we do love each other, and our relationship is worth trying to rebuild. It was a wake-up call to both of us. As for the girl, I contacted her to let her know how their actions affected me and my family. She has not accepted any responsibility for any of this and blames my husband solely, even though she knew he was married. I will not any further contact with her. She is looking for a new job, but for the next 2 weeks, they're stuck working next to each other. In Jan, she will be moving out as group, but hopefully she leaves the company altogether. If she does not, my husband has been looking for a new job and will leave the company if she isn't gone within a reasonable time frame. She has suggested that she is looking for a new job. He has unfriended her on Facebook, blocked her, and she has blocked him. They're not to talk to each other or be alone together for any reason, and any communication will only be about business. We will continue with marriage counseling for the foreseeable future, and even though things have greatly improved, we have a long, rough road ahead of us. Not a happy update, but not a sad one either. Update 2. Even though my posts haven't generated a lot of steam, I've gotten a few requests for an update. It's been 2 months since D-Day, and a lot has happened. My husband went back to work after his paternity leave, and each day would come home and relate any communication that him and this girl had. On his own, he would show me any texts or IMs as well. Unfortunately, we had a few setbacks as the emotional side of this affair reared its ugly head. It was difficult for him to go back to work and sit like 10 feet from her, so he started looking for a new job. I started stopping by the office a couple of times during the week so we could have lunch, which is something that we didn't do before, but felt that it was important to just spend some time together. The day after Christmas, he was laid off from his job. We don't know if there was an underlying reason other than budget, but we assume so. Like I said, he was showing me any digital communication that they were having that was supposed to be work-related, but unfortunately this girl didn't get the memo from the day he returned from paternity until the day he was let go. There were several instances of her insisting that my husband leave me and the kids to be with her because I was a bitch and didn't deserve him, and she was way better than me. She even said that she would make pot roast for him in nothing but an apron and her stripper shoes. The day he was let go, she told him that she looks forward in seeing him again and that his new life was going to suck and that she would be waiting. He told her that they will never speak or see each other ever again. On that Monday, he had to go back to the office to drop off some materials, and he asked that I go with him. Right in front of me, HR and the manager, he confessed to the affair. His status changed to terminated for violating the sexual harassment policy at work. It sucks that he is now out of a job, but he's very marketable and has a few offers that have already come in. It is a good thing that we aren't a single-income family. It was for the best for him leaving, and it was for the best in admitting what he did. Now he is seeing and feeling all the consequences to his actions and how they affect not just him, me or her, but a whole host of other people. We're still in therapy, and that is going pretty well, and we will continue going. We are both getting a lot out of it. We are also both reading a book called Not Just Friends, and he's seeing how his relationship with her was inappropriate from the very beginning prior to any physical or emotional actions took place. And from that book, we have formulated boundaries on acceptable behavior with other people for when we go back to work. Like not going to lunch with the opposite sex unless it's a group outing or using another person as a soundboard of problems unless we have talked to each other first. We also get up together and go to bed together, which was something that we no longer did. We spend 6 to 7, just each other talking every morning about whatever. So we have some connection and we watch movies, TV, and or talk in the evening after the kids go to bed to maintain that connection. He has come clean about the entire affair and gave me the nitty-gritty details so that I could stop running porn of them in my head. He also related on how the night I kicked him out She showed up his shitty motel with bags of entire wardrobe, shoe collection, and all her toiletries because she was going to move in. This really pissed me off that she had some deluded fantasy that she was going to move into my house and take care of my kids because according to him, C really hated me and thought he could better than me. He also gave back to her any and all gifts she ever gave him. He has had a lot of time to reflect on their relationship from beginning to the end, and he is seeing that she used him to get ahead at work and for possibility a better life. He is seeing all the lies that she told him and how she manipulated situations to keep the affair going. Neither of us blame her per se because he is even more responsible for this fuck up, but she does bear some responsibility in all of this. She has now slept with 2 managers, had inappropriate sexual contact with 2 other managers, slept with a vendor, and also with 2 peers since May 2014 in a company of 30 people. I'm not sure if she will be working there very much longer, but I don't really care. For now, she has stopped texting him after he confessed to his work. She went kind of crazy and was calling and texting. He told her not to contact him or his family ever again. He blocked her number, and we haven't heard from her since. She has a new boyfriend, and we are fairly certain that after that relationship ends, she will attempt contact again. I'm still working on forgiveness of this affair and just try to learn to live with it, and it's going to be a long process. But we are focused on ourselves and making our relationships stronger and healthier and trying to no longer focus on her or what they had. My husband has started picking up a lot of the parenting duties that I did alone, like cooking, doing laundry, daycare drop-off, and pickup, and he has related a few times how it was bullshit I was doing all that alone, and it's really hard work. He told me the other day that he never realized what he had, an awesome wife, until he almost lost her, and I think he really means it. We are both working really hard to be better spouses and better parents, and so far it's working pretty good. Some days suck, and some days are great, and we're just working through it one day at a time. Relevant comments. Duck Hunter 7382 says, "How was he terminated, but yet she was allowed to keep her job?" Hope replied, "Because he violated sexual harassment policies, she was the victim." Duck Hunter 7382 says, "The way the story has unfolded, it sounds like it was an affair with 2 willing participants. Her actions could also be seen as harassment." Hope replied, "Although I agree with you, he was her manager and their affair could be perceived as sexual harassment, even though it clearly wasn't. The company doesn't want to risk a lawsuit." Update 3. I feel a need to update because it makes me feel better. So 9 months after busting my husband having an affair and going to therapy for like 8 months or so, 10 days ago, I asked my husband to move out. He moved out last Saturday, so it's just me and my 2 kids right now. Around May, I just realized how really unhappy I am and that I will never bounce back from the affair. I'm just not built that way. It was just like the wool was pulled from my eyes, and I just realized that every day for 5 months he lied to me. Every time he opened his mouth, he used his child as a tool to continue to the affair outside of work by pretending to take my kid to the park or play with him, all the while he was sexting this girl and paying more attention to this girl than his own child. I also realized that he was using our child to pull at any maternal heartstrings that this girl may have, all the while talking trash about me that wasn't true and how he really felt about me. He brought my children into a very grown-up situation without any regard to their feelings or their interest. He introduced our son to a woman he hardly knew, and that is careless. Most people agonize over introducing new partners to their kids because they want their kids to like their partner, have a smooth transition, that kind of thing, and he just didn't care. It was all about him. Realized is probably the wrong word to use. I knew that he did because he told, but it was like I finally dealt with the gravity of what he did and how he just didn't care about anyone but himself because he felt that he was entitled to have an affair. I feel bad that he moved out. He told me that he is heartbroken and stuff, and I feel bad, but he didn't think about me or our family when he was having an affair. He could have cared less about how his actions were affecting us. He didn't care about his family, his home, or his job to keep it in pants. I don't trust anything he says. Between the day that I asked him to leave to the day that he left, it was fairly difficult. He blamed me a lot for everything, that he did his best to try to rebuild and help me and stuff, but apparently that isn't good enough for me. I tried to explain that folding some laundry and hanging out with the kids does not take away his actions, but I wasn't getting anywhere. He was really manipulating me to ask him to stay, that our son would suffer for my decision, that I didn't try. He was inconveniencing me by being around. I would try to even have small talk with him, and he would ignore and walk out of the room, and then come back like an hour later and demand to know why I was ignoring him. Honestly, our relationship has more or less been like this. He manipulates me a lot, gaslights me by saying something mean, and then denying it. He blames me for almost everything, constantly criticizes me how I don't do things right, like load the dishwasher, cook dinner, stuff like that. He also has a fucking terrible temper and has started projecting his temper on the kids, yelling at them, stomping on toys and kicking them and threatening them, all over stupid shit too, like spilling milk on the floor and stuff. On Friday, while I was feeding the baby, I left the room for a few minutes and came back to him telling our 4-year-old that mommy wants him to move out of the house and that mommy doesn't like him anymore. It was really fucked up. My son yelled at me, "Why do you not like daddy anymore?" while crying. I was just baffled that he was telling her son this stuff, and honestly, I felt like he trying to get my son to blame for this. I smoothed that over with my son, and he's totally fine now and hasn't asked about my husband since he left Saturday morning. Sorry to kind of babble, but talking about it makes me feel better. Anyway, I am in the process of doing some basic renovations on our house. I am finding a therapist for me, and I have an appointment with an attorney for a support order and parenting plan. I feel good about this, and since Saturday I can finally breathe, and it feels good. Final comments. OP to a long comment. Stepped up and started helping out with the kids, making dinner, doing chores, and spending time with his family. This does not absolve an affair. And honestly, is playing Destiny the whole weekend in the basement really count as helping out with the kids, making dinner, and doing chores, and spending time with his family? Does having the requirement that I have to ask him to do things that are totally obvious that need to be done really count as helping out? I'm not his mom. He was open and honest with you and tried to rebuild your trust. It takes years to build trust and a single moment to wipe it out. He has not been honest nor open. He feels that he has, but his web history shows something different. You guys should have told your child together what was happening. It's important that kids that age have separations explain that their parent isn't leaving because of something they did. It's not a one-time conversation, and you both handled it poorly. You both need to sit down with your child and explain that sometimes adults decide to not live together, but that he still has two parents who love him, and that's never going to change. I agree with you, except that we both handled it poorly. I had no idea that he wanted to have this discussion with our son during dinner. He purposefully waited until I left the room to have the discussion. I wasn't a part of the conversation because he did not allow me to be. I immediately came over and sit down with my son while he cried and screamed at me, and I had to explain to my son that this was not his fault and he didn't do anything, and that we both loved him and we both tried really to be a good family. I also had to explain that daddy was moving out, but only down the road, and things will be different, but we will still hang out as a family and have dinner, and that we are still a family. So don't tell me I handled it poorly. I didn't put blame on anyone and made sure that my son knew that he was loved. Following the affair, he did everything right by the numbers and put in the work to repair your relationship. Now a year later, you still want out and are using the affair as justification. You kicked him to the curb and completely invalidated all of the work you both put in over the last 9 months. Yes, he did everything right, but that doesn't erase what he did. I tried too. I am the one that had to schedule all the marriage counseling appointments. Not to mention, I paid for all of them out of my own pocket, not mine. I didn't invalidate anything. There are two types of people in this world when it comes to affairs, those that can bounce back and those that can't. I can't. You have made a lot of assumptions here. Hope I could clear up the misunderstanding. And what was in the web history? He was looking at escort sites and was stalking a friend on the internet that he had to have sex with him a couple of years ago. When he told that he had solicited her sex, and she said no because he was married, I told him that he was not to have anything to with her anymore. But here he is jerking off to her pics on Facebook and Tumblr. He also has a Tinder account. OP's final comment, summarizing the end. Our relationship did not fail because of the affair. It failed because we lacked communication. A lot of our issues could have been resolved if we communicated better. By the time we both realized we had major issues, the affair already happened. The affair is the final straw. I also tried really hard. We both did right after the discovery of the affair, but the changes were not sustainable.